Hello, everybody. Welcome to Audio Asylum, where we all get together, have a good time, talk about some film and other things. Tonight, we have a beautiful arrangement of people. Tonight, let's start off with introducing the illustrious DJ. Now, before we get into all this, I want every single one of you I'm about to introduce in honor of Guardian of the Galaxy 2 and its not imminent release, it just released, so recent release. Just for the fun of it, give an alternate fan cast of Starlord because why not? So DJ, what's up, my man?
Yes.
Who you got?
Yo, what up, fam? So my fan cast for replacing Chris shoot, what's his last name?
Pratt.
Pratt.
There you go.
Chris the Prattster as Starlord would be given our recent conversations, I'd choose Owen Wilson. I mean,
I like
you
it.
just could you imagine his introduction? Wow, I'm Star Lord.
Oh, that's
Wow.
beautiful. That is, I
I
love that.
I think he could and throw Vince Vaughn as Groot. Good.
Mm, good extra, good bonus there. Good job, sir. And I believe next we have on here Mitch coming in.
What's up? What's up?
Hey,
I'm gonna
there you
go with
are.
Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen. I can see that in a weird sort of way.
I love his laugh.
That's the first thing that popped into my mind. I don't know why.
Oh man, that's funny.
Either that or James Franco.
Yeah, the two of them always. Yeah.
Or
That-
have them both be in it, and then by the end of the movie,
One
they're
star, one
smoking.
Yeah, I feel like Rogan would be the alt cast for Groot, and Franco would be Star Lord, and then they would just have the same relationship they always. Or no, I'm sorry. Rogan would be Groot, and Franco would be Raccoon Rocket. I can't speak. And the two of them would just have the same thing they have in every single movie they're in together. Just Rogan would be constantly saying, "I am Groot," and it'd be great.
What a pair!
What a pair. That's right. Next up though, we have Ryan coming in.
Hey, yeah, I'm gonna do something absolutely terrible here and just say Jennifer Lawrence.
Ugh.
Oh man.
In
I'm just
seriousness,
picturing the posters.
in seriousness, I couldn't replace him though. I couldn't replace Chris Pratt.
I
I like him
understand.
too much in the role.
He is pretty much perfect. That's why I chose him for the role. And not why I chose him. Let me clarify.
chose-
I do want to clarify though that there's not any rumors of Chris Pratt being fired. By the way,
What are you talking
This
about?
is
This
just
is our
for
hot
fun.
take. This is our hot take. I don't know what you're talking about. No.
They're now in charge of Marvel. Joseph
Oh,
decides
man.
everything.
That's right. That is totally accurate. Like deciding to go on down the list and introduce Kiefer. What is up, Kiefer?
What's up, guys? I actually have two fan casts for Star-Lord. One's a little out of the box, the other's a little more traditional. First one, Louis Tan. I think he'd make an interesting Star-Lord. Second, if they wanted to go young with it, someone like Jacob Lattimore from Slight.
Hey, you know what you should do? You should pick two
what's
actors that no one's ever heard of.
I know, right? Like
Right?
every estimate, you are my man that I come to. When I'm like, yo, I need some like low key, not famous actors that would be really cool in a role. Like I just talked to Kiefer. He's got you down. Now I do know who you're talking about with Latimer though. I got you there. I like it. I like it.
Who's
Uh,
what's he been in?
Slight. That's all I know from, and I haven't even seen Slight yet.
Hmm.
I have seen Slight.
Oh, you did
I,
see
I,
it.
I thought he was pretty good in that. And he's
Was it?
young, he's interesting on camera, charismatic. I think he'd be
Nice.
interesting.
I'm
As a
really
younger
excited.
Star-Lord.
Yeah.
Who's the other guy?
The other guy? He already said it. There's some other guy.
Louis Tan?
Yeah.
He's not anything particularly famous. I've seen him on television, but he's good
Oh,
looking, good shape,
Is he?
interesting,
is he
charismatic.
tan?
So that's all I'm looking for with Star-Lord.
Yeah, there
He
you go.
is tan. Yes, that's
Okay.
that's
He
one way to
is
put
in
it.
fact tan. That you heard it here first. He's actually tan. I will say, even though nobody has asked me, I will ask myself and say, I think it would be hilarious to see Josh Gad.
Yeah.
I know, right?
He
It's
wants
so
to be
disgusting.
Penguin.
It's so disgusting. It'd be hilarious. Like, it's just, and it'd have to be a musical, Guardians of the Galaxy. Like,
Jeez.
Is that the guy from Beauty and the Beast?
yeah, he was LeFou. He was
He was the snowman,
the snowman. Olaf, that's his name, right? Is that the snowman's name?
probably. He wants to
Yeah.
be. He stated publicly that he wants to be Penguin.
I can
Oh
see that.
yeah, that's right. And then there's like a fan picture and everything. That's pretty intense looking.
I could see it, but I don't think he'd be any good.
No, I can see it, but not in this universe. Not. That
Maybe
sounded so
maybe in a
rude.
musical.
Yeah, maybe in a musical. That's right. Stick to
I
your
don't
musicals,
remember.
Josh.
Oh well, I mean, he could do good in that. Maybe they could have like a musical Guardians of the Galaxy, just
yeah.
because
We're
there's so
talking
many.
Penguin.
Wait, what?
Were we talking Penguin?
Well, I thought we were talking about in the context of
Okay.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh,
I
you're
was
talking
saying, if
whatever
we're talking
you
about a
wanna talk.
musical, we could do a musical version of Guardians of the Galaxy since music is such an integral part of this. the
And there'd be
story
some great
and the
humor
movie
in there.
experience.
There'd be some great humor in there where we have an entire song dedicated to Groot, and he's just singing "I am Groot," and it's just with my beautiful voice. I know.
Save it for the CW. Ugh.
Hey, now I will forever enjoy that episode. I'm just saying, that was a fire episode because it was so much fun. No, but before we get too out of hand, I guess I want to go ahead and get us started. A lot of y'all have seen Guardians of the Galaxy 2. It just came out. I have not seen Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and I really want to know what y'all thought of it. So basically, it's review time. I need people to start telling me, not necessarily spoilers, though I don't anticipate spoilers from a Marvel movie. Like, let's be honest, what is there to spoil? But yeah, I need ideas. I need to know if it's worth seeing.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and get this out of the way because I probably have the rosiest perspective on this of anybody. Mostly because I don't really, I have a very low bar for Marvel, unfortunately. But in fairness though, the original Guardians of the Galaxy was a landmark film for Marvel. It really opened up their universe, and so it was a tough act to follow. But I think they did a decent job of continuing it. There were nitpicks that I didn't like there were bits of terrible exposition in the beginning, and the first act script was just bad, but it improved as it went along, I think. And my one major gripe though is lamentable gripe is that the soundtrack is absolutely inferior to the first. And that may be a hot take for some people, but I was not impressed with the soundtrack. Now, the movie itself was fine. I think they did force some weird character shifts that probably shouldn't have occurred, but overall, I think they did really good. And I think this is the first time Marvel's had a halfway decent villain that was not somebody we already knew was going to be a decent villain, like Loki.
That's fun. Goodness
Yeah.
knows they need that. I actually did want to, before we get much further though, I'm not gonna lie, I totally forgot. I wanted to bring in one other guy here in the beginning here to kind of give us a backdrop for everything. My
Yeah.
man Chris,
Yeah.
gonna come in,
Mm-hmm.
do some box office stuff. I totally
Yeah.
didn't forget
Oh, you
anything when I
totally
started the
not.
show off.
Obviously, no.
Nope. Nope.
Why
But
would
what you have to not forget though is that you also have to give me a fan cast.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
So-
I'm gonna go somewhere with that. That's I don't know, not as cool as all the other selections, but I want an in his prime. That means mid '90s Jim Carrey.
Yes. Actually, yes. I am all about that. I would watch that movie in a heartbeat.
I'm
I
just
am such a
imagining.
Jim Carrey fan.
I'm just imagining something like a Ace Ventura, Pet Detective type Jim Carrey playing Starlord. I don't know. I
Oh,
think that'd be kind
man.
of crazy.
That would be hilarious. That's perfect though. But what have you got for us? See, you got some box office numbers for us? You got to tell us what's up.
I always have box office numbers. What are you talking about, man? Okay, we're gonna play a game with this. I'm changing this around.
Oh, snap.
We're going different here. I want everyone to participate if you can. does anyone have a guess? What we're gonna do top 5. All right, I'm not gonna do top 10. It takes way too much time, and no one likes numbers that much. But does anyone know what number 5 was?
Slight.
No.
Nope, not Slight.
No,
Fast and
that's-
Furious.
The Circle.
Beauty and the Beast.
You're correct, Joseph. Congratulations.
Oh, I'm so good, y'all. You're welcome. I'm
That
just
was
gonna
my
clap
original
myself.
answer, but I was like, that's too low.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm just gonna.
Slight was all the way down there in like number 14.
Jeez.
Oh.
And
Are we talking domestic box office?
yeah, we're talking domestic box office.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So and The Circle was actually number 6.
Oh.
Beauty and the Beast.
I like
though,
The Circle.
I've no desire to see that. Number 5 was Beauty and the Beast at 4.9. Anyone want to guess what number 4 was? Bet you no one could guess this one.
Ooh, snap.
Boss Baby.
No.
I was gonna laugh if it was like so hard. Oh,
Hidden
no.
it's-
Figures.
It's Bao Bali 2. The
Wait,
conclusion.
I got this. It's that China movie
The what?
No, it's that stupid.
with Jim.
Did the stupid Amy Schumer movie come out yet?
No, that's not coming out
No.
yet.
It's the Bollywood movie, right?
Stupid.
No, it's not the Bollywood movie. That one actually fell to number 7.
Is it Free Fire? What's it called?
No.
Fate of
I
the
think
Furious.
I think you should tell us, Chris.
I think I will tell you guys now.
Yeah.
Since you guys
Tell us.
keep guessing. How to Be a Latin Lover with 5.2 million.
No way.
What?
How did that do
Wow.
Who's in that?
It's
Wow.
doing
that? That
so
looks
well.
so stupid.
It's doing so well too, despite the fact that it looks stupid.
What
Oh
is that?
man.
So
How is
number
that movie making any money?
I don't know. It's made $20.6 million since it came out. I don't know what the budget was,
My
but
faith in humanity just lessened. Like,
well, it's probably gonna
Oh.
lessen a little further once you find out that number 3 is the Boss Baby with 6.1 million.
I mean,
Is that the bald ones or?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, that is.
I have yet to see it, but I actually want to at this point. Like the fact that it has hung on as long as it has makes me think there is something to this movie. Like I've got to see it now.
Yeah, it's made 100. This is all domestic totals, obviously, but it's made 156.7 million dollars domestically. So that's a win. That's a win for
Yeah.
that's Fox. That's a Fox movie. So good job on
That's
that.
so
Oh,
confusing
was-
to me though, because on Rotten Tomatoes it says 58% of audiences liked it.
It's
Because we trust.
So
Rotten
who's going
Tomatoes.
out to see this movie?
parents with their kids.
Like, I don't get it.
it's a kids movie.
Yeah, but
So basically, what they're saying is that the parents don't like it, but all the kids like it.
probably.
I guess so. Jeez. So you're. I hate things like that. I hate children.
Rotten Tomatoes, baby.
Number 2, I think everyone knows what this is going to be. Fate of the Furious, sitting at $8.5 million. It's up to 207 million domestically, and it's also sitting over 101. Yeah, or yeah, $1.1 billion right now. That's
Wow.
over the total. So
All about the
Nice.
family, baby.
Now, don't tell me number one. Number one is The Last Jedi. Am I right? I know I'm right.
what? Huh?
Oh, it's
how'd,
not.
you, how'd,
Chicken sandwich.
how'd you know this?
Sorry, I watched Arrival lately, and my brain's just been like opened up, and
Oh man.
I get it.
Time is only relative.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Alright,
What's number one?
All right, Christopher.
No.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume
course, of
2,
course.
Which opened with $145 million. It also is up to over $450 million worldwide since it was released a week earlier. So
Not bad, not bad.
pretty
Oh, that's
much
it?
it's made its money. I mean, it's got a $200 million budget, but give it like another week or two, it's going to make its money back. So
Yeah.
there's
I
your-
mean, what Marvel movie isn't going to make its money back?
that is true. That is very true. Doctor Strange was kind of a strange one, but yeah.
Oh,
that's-
really?
Oh yes. So that's the top 5. I want to bring one other movie to note, kind of to the forefront though. Is that Get Out has finally crossed over $200 million worldwide.
Nice.
Excellent.
Get out.
Ah,
I see what you did there.
and that I guess I'll let everyone know that Split has actually officially closed in theaters. So,
Yeah,
because it's out.
yes.
Split's
because
so good.
It's split out. Wait,
It's
that's
so
a weird
good.
combination.
What?
I love Split. I did it.
Thank you so much, Chris. That illuminated things for the future that we needed to know. So that's good to know. To get back into the reviews though, we had Ryan was saying you're saying that it was pretty good. You liked it. It was good. You liked the humor. Was it?
Yeah, most of it. I'm not gonna say it was perfect. Most of it landed for me. But yeah, it was overall good. I mean,
That's good.
I am gonna be a bit controversial here. I maybe liked it more than Civil War.
Oh snap!
Oh boy.
Get wrecked, Civil War. I don't blame you though. I liked Civil War, but it wasn't. It wasn't the movie that people made it out to be. So I am totally with you,
Absolutely
bro.
right.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I need
Let me
another. No, somebody else come at me here.
yeah, let me hop in real quick and say that this movie, okay, let me give you some background a little bit. I was really up until last night trying to figure out whether or not I even wanted to see this movie or if I cared to see it at all. I was very willing to not take part in this whole review section of Guardians of the Galaxy, but then Chris was like, "Oh yeah, there's a showing at after midnight and I'll drive." So I was like, "All right, whatever." So so we went and I saw the movie and it was exactly what I expected it to be. I knew I was going to have fun with it. I appreciated most of the humor. It was fun. It was much spectacle, but it wasn't mind blowing. Now there were a few things that I really liked about it. There was that I personally relate to, um, but there's also a lot of things that I think can be complained about. But are we doing a spoiler section for this?
Good
At some point?
question.
Is there enough to spoil that it's spoiling?
Kind
Yes.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say
Let's
so.
hold off then. I
There's a-
haven't seen it, and I don't think people would appreciate that.
I think they would love it, but that's okay.
Oh,
But I'm just gonna say that this movie, this was. I'm trying real hard not to spoil anything, and I think what
I
I'm
mean,
about to say is,
if it's a necessary thing, you know what? I'm cool.
let's just
If
say mild spoilers that will not really like ruin anything.
I like it.
So this movie is extremely derivative, and I think it is very close to Man of Steel in certain plot points and certain little storylines that it and decisions that it decides to make with the way that it plays out. But also the film structure, the story structure, I guess you could say, is pretty much Batman v Superman,
Huh.
where there's not really a plot. There's just a lot of different storylines together, and eventually they're brought together at the climax.
Well, that's cool.
And yeah, it's an inch. I just honestly I don't want to keep going because I feel like I'm going to spoil something, but yeah, as we continue to discuss this, I'll bring up certain points that and
Okay.
I'll elaborate on certain things.
I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll have a spoiler section. We'll have a section that's just dedicated to using all the spoiler imagery. And I'll be fine because I'm a big boy and I probably predicted it anyways. I'm just saying. Oh, who else we got in here? Somebody throw some more stuff at me.
I'll come in. I
Some
love the
bitch.
movie. I saw it Thursday night. I guess technically before the opening weekend. Does Thursday count as the opening weekend?
Count it.
Yes.
Either way, I saw it Thursday night, so I'm a little unrefreshed, I suppose. But
You
from
don't
the
know
very
anything?
beginning of the movie, I enjoyed it all the way through. There was one moment in we'll go into it, I guess, when we discuss spoilers. But there was one moment I was like, "This is ridiculous," even for Marvel. I think it was during or right before the climax. I was like, anyways, without spoiling it, I thought they did really good. I agree that the villain was actually thought out, unlike most Marvel villains. Like Crossbones. God, what a waste. Anyways,
Was he in the movie?
Crossbones?
Yes, he was definitely.
Yeah, he
in the
got his,
For as
movie.
long as he was in Civil War.
Yeah, exactly. The plot, as DJ said, it's all over the place, but it was a fun movie, as everyone suspects it will be. Yeah, that's pretty much it for non-spoilers.
Okay, well, first thing I need to know from all of y'all is, was there enough family?
There was
It's all about family, baby.
there was plenty of family.
Y'all were so not hyped about that. I'm disappointed.
No,
No?
I'm kind of over it.
Oh, you're over family?
I'm kind
That
of over
makes me
family.
sad.
I'm a lone
But-
wolf type of guy.
Oh, okay. Okay. It's
I love
cool.
my family,
maybe
though,
somebody
just
else
side
maybe
note.
somebody else can get hyped for me. Somebody else get in here.
Let me get in on this. Let me hop in.
I
real
will
quick.
let you hop
Kiefer's
in.
gonna
on
hop
this.
in real quick.
All right, let's go, Kiefer.
But first of all, I have to clear some brush out of the way so I can get to the point I'm trying to make. First of all, when we're talking about Batman v Superman, and you say it doesn't have a plot,
I was wondering.
Okay. Here, let me clarify. It doesn't have an orthodox plot. It's very unorthodox in the structure.
Very fair. And that's what I wasn't going. I knew that was probably what you meant, but for those listeners out there who probably love Batman v Superman and
Like us.
and our friends,
Yeah, boy.
they'd probably want to see that explained. So you're very right. It's very non-traditional. It's more thematic than narrative. There are themes that are carried out through the actions of different characters, and they actually cause events instead of the other way around. So,
like
about
family.
the movie,
like family. What?
No, I'm actually fairly excited about the idea of family. I think some people would say that the Guardians were more ragtag groups of individuals in the first movie, and the jump to family in the second seems forced, but I don't think so. I think this is kind of the same thing that we saw in something like Suicide Squad. You have these incredibly strenuous, intense situations leading to strong and effective bonds. That happens fairly often. It happens in the military. It happens in any high stress situation. So to the movie, I'm going to be bold here and say that I might have enjoyed it more than the first one. Now, it's not as magical as the first one is. There's a magic to the first Guardians of the Galaxy, a charm that probably will never be reached again in the entire trilogy or however many movies they make. But there are some scenes in here, especially the set pieces, that are far superior. The cinematography in some places is better, although it's really shamefully bad in a few other places, not nearly as numerous as the good pieces, though. The characters are well developed. The humor is generally good, but I think it is telegraphed and occasionally overacted. But that is just par for the course for the Marvel universe.
That's
so
fair.
Overall, I think the movie was very, very good. It's my favorite Marvel movie since maybe the Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm really liking these series of movies, and if the third one's anything as good as the first two, it will be the best Marvel trilogy by far.
Also, just to piggyback on your comment about the aesthetics, this is the first, I believe, the first Marvel film that's shot on film and not digitally.
Oh, really? Good for them. I mean, based off of the trailers, I don't think there's much for the film to capture besides like a ton of green screen. But
so the color
maybe...
contrast is a little bit higher in this one than previous films.
I was curious about that, and I like that. I like pop. Oh, I'm getting corrected here. It's blue screen nowadays. That's what the cool kids use.
Blue screen.
Yeah. Cool kids use blue screen.
Not just Mitchell.
Well, can I hop in with one last thing?
No.
Please hop in.
Yes, please.
The thing I really appreciated about this movie is it felt really serious and dark even in places. There's a lot of violence and there's more cursing and there's more adult thematic content in the movie.
Yeah, Groot dropped the F-bomb.
Oh yeah,
It's PG-13. Am I right?
Yeah, but on that same point, and this is sort of the thing that happens, I think, with Marvel for me. They give you something great and they kind of undercut it. They give you some somber and serious moments, but then almost predictably, no, not almost, actually, they predictably cut away from the somber and the serious most of the time with predictable humor. And that bothers me as someone who doesn't want to see the universe devolve into a whirlpool of self-referential jokes.
Self-referential
it's
jokes.
sort of cynical.
It sounds more like a Deadpool of
But
them.
wasn't it already that?
Yeah.
I mean that's fair.
I mean, I think it stayed true to itself. The movie did. But I do think there were a lot more somber moments, but I think this is one of also Chris Pratt's best performances. He has some moments in this that are really really good. He gives a very strong performance emotionally. Some things that I can absolutely relate to, but it's in spoilers, so I don't I don't really want to talk about it right now. But yeah, I think Chris Pratt was great in this film.
Well,
can I be controversial on that?
Yes.
Pratt? I don't think I like Pratt as much in this movie. I think there were some parts where I could feel like him acting charming instead of being charming on screen. Does that make sense? Like, that's not to say that he was bad or that he wasn't interesting, because most of the time that he was. But there's a few times I felt like he was striving instead of simply being as an actor. No, there were some good moments, and he had some very very strong moments, and I don't want to take away from those. But in the first one, I thought his performance was just about perfect. In the second one, there were a couple of places that I didn't like him as much as I did in the first. So if I were ranking his performances, I'd go Guardians 1 and then Guardians 2.
So what I'm hearing really quick here is that this is the difference between Lando Calrissian in episode 5 just stepping in and being like, yo, this is how I am. I'm just Mr. Steal Your Girl. And Han Solo just trying as hard as he can to be charming and somehow still pulling it off, but not quite sometimes. And yes, I just said Han Solo is not near as charming as Lando Calrissian. Fight me.
To respond to that, I think you have a point there, but I don't think that's by anyone's doing. I think that's just how the films are differently structured, because in the first one, Chris Pratt is carrying that movie. He's the one we rely on to relate to more than anybody. And then in the second one, he's more reacting to everything that's going on, because he's learning a lot of things, and I think that he's more of he's honestly playing the Henry Cavill role in DC movies. A lot of things are going on, and he's having to react, and there's not much he can do. Is it Cavill or Cavill or Cavill?
Cavill. I was yeah. Cavill is what is this? The Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill. So I that's what I kind of thought of his performance was much like, because there are a lot of revelations, and he goes through his world is shaken in this movie,
it's this galaxy shape.
It's just different. He's just who he is in the first movie, and in the second movie, his whole life changes.
Okay. Well, next question I have then is Pratt, since we're talking about him, is he the main character or is he a main character?
He is a part of the ensemble cast that is the Guardian.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Okay.
it feels more ensemble-y than
That
he's
makes me
the main
happy
character.
because I loved Guardians of the Galaxy, don't get me wrong, and I think it's good that they made him the main character and it made it relatable and all. But if you're going to go into a film about a team of people, I was worried that he was just gonna still be the limelight, still be all of that. So I'm glad to see we're giving everybody the time.
That's a really great perspective, Joe. I think that it does definitely feel more like an ensemble movie. But I also think that if you were a particularly negative sort of critic, you could look at that and say the movie gets too bloated and if there's too much else going on. That's a
Yep.
criticism that we've seen of not only of movies that we like, but of even a movie that got near universal acclaim like Civil War. It's bloated. The characters don't get much screen time, and they're not developed well. I think that James Gunn managed to do a fairly good job of it here, but there were in some places times in which the main arc of the story gets muddled between plot, subplot, humor, serious moment, subplot again back to main point, and then again diverges into multiple things. So I think he came right up to the line of making a movie that was almost a little bit too bloated for its own good. Not too particularly complex or anything, but just too convoluted.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'd like to add on that. You can tell that's sort of the theme there, that it is bloated, and they seem to be aware of that because they downgraded Groot.
Yeah.
Not just because the plot reasons, but they brought him to that sight gag kind of thing, just because I feel like they couldn't do service to a more adult Groot.
Yeah, I'm kind of over Baby Groot at this point. I'm
Oh wow.
he had his time. I'm fine with it, but we got to move on. So
Well,
Do we move on?
that's a statement. That, well, before we get into the spoiler section that y'all need to release your thoughts, I just have one more question, and this is a personal question: was Karen Gillan good? Because I might be a big fan of her. Just
she's
saying.
fine.
She's
kinda-
fine.
She's pretty much what she was in the first movie.
Yeah, I also been to give her more.
I mean, they get some more moments. Her
That's
and
fine.
Gamora. So
Karen Gillan playing what is her name in the film? The blue lady.
Nebula.
Nebula. Okay, yeah. I just not gonna lie. She's good actress.
Robot lady.
Robot lady. She was in The Circle, which I saw recently. And I actually thought that is something I will say. If you haven't seen The Circle,
Oh, I thought you said the
just-
circus.
no,
I
yes, she was in
where
the
was
circus.
she in the circus?
She was in the circus, y'all. You heard it here first. So in the circle, and he was or she was good. Like as an actress, like I thought she really nailed her role. She wasn't like a main character, but like yeah, I've been impressed with her recently. So yeah, but I will now open the floor though. If you don't like spoilers, just skip ahead.
Spoiler alert.
All right, spoilers. Let's go. Somebody shout it out.
Ego's a villain.
I don't even know what you said.
Ego is a
Nice.
planet.
They
Ego.
still don't kiss.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The Sam and Diane even referenced sexual tension between Starlord and Gamora
Mhm.
is just you can cut the tension with a knife, but it'd probably be Gamora's sword.
Oh, there you go. So what were you specifically, DJ? I know you said you had stuff you were trying to say, but you couldn't.
Yeah.
What were you going for?
So okay, so to elaborate on my Mitch, you had something to say real quick.
Yeah, you would think that Gamora was the blue sister because of the blue balls this film gives you.
Oh, I see what they did there.
Should
Alright.
not have gone there.
Hi, Mom. I'm not involved in
Jeez.
this.
All about it, baby.
I'm regretting giving you the floor.
Kiss already.
Oh man, I see what you did. I see
well.
what you did.
Okay, moving on. So, okay, to elaborate on how I was saying that this movie is a bit derivative of Man of Steel, and I'll admit it's a bit of a stretch at times, but what I would say is the whole Starlord does share a lot of similarities with Clark Kent and Superman. He has a celestial father. He has a Earth mother. And he's kind of a man of both worlds. Even though I know Superman's 100% an alien, but Starlord has that whole.
What's the mother's name?
It's not Martha.
It's not Martha. Okay, just checking really quick.
It's something some 70s name like Fanny or something.
Ethel.
Ethel. Yeah. But so he shares that similarity, but also he let's say the whole the fight at the end with so ego the living planet is the villain of the movie. Okay, spoilers. We're in the spoiler section, so free reign. So there's a fight at the end that reminded me a lot of the end of Man of Steel, because Ego and Starlord are flying around hitting each other, blah 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 blah. That reminded me of Man of Steel, and also just a little bit of the tech that they used was. It's almost like they went super out of their way to not copy Man of Steel 100%. Like his little ship that he was in when he was telling Starlord about Chris Pratt, I guess, but Starlord about his past and his family and how he came to be. It reminded me of Jor-El telling Kal-El about the telling him about his past and Kryptonian culture and whatever. But all they were missing was the pin art, basically. They just basically made it super shiny plastic mannequins, which I thought kind of looked stupid, but whatever. But yeah, so there's that, and then like I said before, the plot structure is very much like BVS, where there's a lot of things going on, and it all assembles like the Avengers together. Nobody got that joke. All right, never mind. To meet at the climax, and then the big thing happens, and then they're done. But yeah, I'm gonna stop ranting. I'll let someone go. I have more to say, but someone else kind of elaborate on some other things.
Yeah, please. What's some other thoughts we got in here?
Yeah, I wanted to say there was a juicy symbolism in the fact that Ego, sink in that name for a second, Ego's plan was to make the universe all about himself.
Yeah.
That makes I kind of assumed that. Yeah.
I never really thought about that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, his dastardly plan was to literally morph the universe into more of him, like warping it into his image, so to speak.
I feel like every Marvel movie can be summed up by, and the bad guy's dastardly plan.
Yeah, sadly that is the case. But here, there was a little bit by tying him to Starlord, we get a lot more emotional impact than we normally get out of our Marvel villains.
Yes,
and we also get the moment that there's a turn with those two is absolutely perfectly well done, because it's exactly what would have snapped me. And I think
agreed.
I think this is the first time I genuinely wanted to punch a Marvel villain in the face. Yeah. I just like I snapped at about the same time Starlord did, so I did like that aspect of it.
That's good. I mean, it's not often we get a Marvel villain that actually pushes buttons.
But isn't it kind of similar to Civil War's plot twist? how it's like, oh, Bucky killed Iron Man's parents. Now let's fight.
Great point.
Now let's fight.
Yeah, no. I wouldn't say I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say they're that similar.
I'd say it's not really more personal because
I
it
think
is
the
post-
similarities stop after you that they both died. I don't think there's any other parallels after that.
Yeah, I could
Good
see that.
try. Good try, Mitch. I'll give you a little clap here.
Terrible try. The worst try.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm gonna
Starlord.
I'm gonna come in with just a couple of thoughts that I have that are a little negative before I get to the positive.
Yes.
I didn't really buy Yondu's turn from the villain-is character in Volume 1 to what he became in Volume 2.
I don't think he was
it-
that villainous.
He was definitely not as sympathetic, though.
It's not the
Sure.
depth of his villainy that bothers me. It's the fact that if the entirety of his character arc in Volume 2 feels like a retcon
Yeah.
instead of a natural progression of the daddy son relationship that he references right before he dies.
I do think they jumped the gun a little bit on that. I will say that.
Yeah.
But I think they didn't have much of a choice at that point because they had to shove that into the movie because it would have felt out of place in another movie.
I think they could have just left it with Star-Lord not really feeling like he had a father figure.
Yeah, but I think he has to have some sort of there has to be
Conceptually, it
some sort
works.
of redemption for his because his whole after Ego reveals his
Dastardly plan.
intentions, yeah, and everything and everything, he I mean, think okay, so let me just put it to you this way. Okay, so I'm about to get a teeny bit personal here, but like okay, so I can relate to Star-Lord and his father, his daddy issues, okay? So imagine you're separated from your father for nearly your whole life, okay? And then you meet him and he's teaching you stuff, you realize you're finally getting that relationship that you've always dreamed about for your entire life, and then you realize he's wow. I mean, can you just think about how? And I'm sorry for language. PG-13, y'all. Parental advisory. Just his world is broken, and then he. So I think the Yondu thing is kind of needed to bring him back a little bit, but I don't know. That's why I think that the Yondu thing was necessary. I do agree that it does feel a little bit forced, but it is what it is.
Yeah, interesting, because I was interested in the ads, honestly. They kind of showed that he was a good guy in the ads, and I was like, wasn't he like not a good guy?
He was
So
like
yeah,
borderline bad. But then again, so were Guardians of the Galaxy.
yeah,
Yeah, and something Ryan was just saying that there's you can definitely see room for a redemptive arc in the character,
mm,
possibly after the first volume, but the second one, but the second movie in the series, it's an odd place to do it for me because I don't think that they've given you enough time to marinate in who he was and to express his personality simply beyond the traits that he expresses in volume 1. So to me, like it just feels too sudden, and I didn't quite buy it. That doesn't mean that it didn't work. That doesn't mean that it wasn't emotionally impactful and wrenching, because it was.
Right.
And his death and the eventual light show at his funeral by the other Ravagers was very powerful, and it's one of the few Marvel moments that didn't get undermined by humor in the wrong place. So I like that. And this is the other negative thing that I had to say, and then I'll get to some of the more positive things that I wanted to get to. But I think one of the things that I've always kind of felt badly about Marvel movies is that they go out of their way to ensure that no one ever really gets hurt. And you could see that with the drones, for instance, in Guardians of the Galaxy that were piloted by the the gold people, whatever their names were, the Sovereign, and they do stuff like that, but then they would have like these mass like killing scenes like Yondu's Revenge.
Hmm.
So they again, it's good and bad. Like for the first time, I saw like a Marvel movie unafraid to show a real body count, and I loved it. That's like a major positive for me. Like they had no.
It looked beautiful too.
Yeah, it looked great.
Well, doesn't that just sound all sorts of twisted when you're not seeing the movie?
Yeah,
It
You'll
looked
understand when you see
beautiful,
it.
too.
Yeah,
You'll understand when you see it.
You sound
did say
like you
spoilers.
watched Gotham.
yeah. It was like the unbridled action sequences that didn't pull punches were some of the best I've seen in Marvel ever. So that's just a major positive for me. So like, yeah, I usually go into Marvel movies thinking, how are they going to keep people from getting hurt? And I saw the drones from the Sovereign. I was like, oh no, they're doing that again. But James Gunn redeemed himself with the rest of the action on the way through, and his willingness to allow a major character to pass away. It was beautiful. I
Not without
thoroughly enjoyed that.
self-sacrifice.
It was wonderful. So big ups
now
to him.
now Disney is just remaking itself, and Han Solo came in and was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna paint myself blue really quick." And
Boy.
no, I'm just
I do need
riffing
a
a
new
movie I
son.
haven't seen. There is one thing I have to say to all of this, though. Just one big collective.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm just gonna play like 5 different wows for you really quick.
Wow.
Wow.
I think I discovered the name of the podcast, guys. It's Dastardly Wows. Oh man.
No, but I wanted to on the Yondu rant. I wanted to add this little bit here. In terms of Yondu feeling retconned, and I agree with Kiefer, he does feel retconned. It would have served better because they made it seem like they made a huge effort to make him seem like he was always a good guy under that terrible murdery thieving exterior, and then it didn't jive with me because I feel like he was a different person in the first one. But I think that it would have been better if they had done like BVS, where he was just on a brutal streak and came to a moment of realization and had been redeemed in that sort of way. And I wish it had showed a little more. And I feel like the scenes they did do this in, they did a good job with, but I feel like they should have focused more on his regret at not being a better father figure. That might have helped for me to believe it. The ones they did have were okay. They did good job for that, but I feel like a little more of that would have gone a long way for me believing this father-son dynamic between Starlord and Yondu. Because I didn't buy it in the end either.
See, I did, but I do agree it might have been a little bit quick, but I think it was earned. They set it up from the beginning, showing how he was exiled from the Ravagers in the beginning, and because of his actions, and he's been dealing with that for so long, and I think also his experiences with and his interactions with Rocket Raccoon also kind of nudged him as well, because he's seeing a younger version of himself pushing people away that he should be drawing closer and drawing them near to him. And I think that he always did have a soft spot, and that's why he was not marooned, but what's that called? The whole pirate thing, taking over the ship with the captain. Somebody help me.
Now you got me saying marooned. Mutiny.
Mutiny. Yeah. I knew it was an M. So that's why there was a mutiny against him, because he was starting to get soft, and they were seeing it. He always had a soft spot for Starlord, because he was kind of, enough was enough at a certain point, and then finally it all he has that one last shot to redeem himself, and he even says that where he's like, I've never done anything good in my entire life, let me have this. He says that to Rocket Raccoon right before he saves Starlord, and you know, I think it's earned. I do.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not earned or not well executed within this frame, but it does feel like a retcon because all that stuff you mentioned is in this film.
Yeah, but I think the biggest theme of this, well, besides family, is fatherhood in this movie, and interestingly, that's kind of been a trend in movies lately. Also, aside from family, like with Logan, I think, and isn't fatherhood in like June, so, or not fatherhood, Father's Day. Father-
Yes. Father's Day is in June. I was really confused there.
Fatherhood is kind of a
Oh, man.
24/7 job, but
Well, I mean, depending on how you
Not if
define.
well, not for everybody, but anyways, oh, sadness.
Not for
But
Oh, ouch! I didn't mean. Oh, now I'm sad. I didn't mean it that way.
Let me hop in one last time with something. I like to, as a reviewer, try to find every method possible to appreciate a movie before I come to a negative conclusion. So maybe I'll follow along with what DJ is saying, and if we kind of pair up the idea that Yandu realized that he did nothing right in his entire life, with the idea that he was trying to, in his last moments, redeem himself and show Star-Lord that fatherhood was always on his mind, it could be seen as something of a beautiful lie. That maybe Yandu realized that he wasn't purely motivated by altruistic intentions towards Starlord from the very beginning. But in that moment of death, he knew that he could provide an example of fatherhood that would be impactful to his life. So in that way, maybe it's easier to appreciate what he does, because otherwise, I think the points that Ryan and I have been making still stand. Like the first volume, the second volume show two different characters, but maybe Yandu and Gunn are being more sophisticated here than I gave them credit for, and they're appreciating the fact that they haven't always lived the right life, but in their last moments of danger, they're willing to do something that isn't quite true, say something that isn't quite true in order to provide a meaningful message. And I think that's actually pretty powerful. It's also even more heartbreaking than I first imagined. So that's my way of kind of appreciating the scene.
I think that theory is brilliant, but I think it's 100% wrong. And let me follow that up with just saying, so if it was a lie, then that means that he never really had a soft spot for him. If he didn't really have a soft spot for him, he would have given him to Ego years ago. So I think it was genuine, honestly. But I do like that theory, but I don't think it holds up.
Okay.
That's interesting. Thank you.
What I'm hearing though is that he's having the same problem as kind of as I felt. Well, maybe not, but kind of like to jump to CW all the way, jumping ship, jumping shows, jumping
Oh
everything.
man,
Oh boy, we had what's his face, not Killer Frost, Captain Cold, Snart. In Flash, like you had Barry give a awkward attempt of, "Hey, I don't think you're really that bad," and then in Legends, he like is a good guy, like in the first season. Like, and there's some like I don't want to give him like bad credit. Like there was development there, but it still never really felt quite right. If you know what I mean.
yeah,
So I feel like it's kind of the same problem. It's interesting to see how these problems are like recurring throughout superhero or that kind of genre of movie.
Parting blow. I'll just say, ending my thoughts on it. They did a lot of groundwork in Volume 2 to make this idea work, but they had to because they didn't do it in Volume 1. That's really my point.
Agreed.
That's fair. That's
I
fair.
think that's a good statement. Great points, everybody.
Yeah, definitely. Really quick, just final question. I think I can safely say right now we're done with spoilers, so let's mark
We did
that.
it.
Yeah,
More spoilers.
spoilers achievement unlocked.
No more spoilers.
Yeah.
Says Jean Grey.
Until tomorrow.
Until tomorrow. That's right. One final question is, does this feel like a superhero movie? I'm gonna ask this after the end of every single superhero movie nowadays.
In the final act, yes.
Nowhere else, though.
I wouldn't say so. I think it feels like just a space romp.
I think so. I think it's the origin, the setup, pretty much the action, everything about it is superhero.
Okay. Kiefer, Ryan, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it feels like a Marvel superhero movie. If I were watching it after only seeing a few Marvel movies, I would know what genre it was in.
Okay.
Simply by the way that it was shot and the way that the characters talk to each other. It's a fairly by the book action comedy superhero movie.
Yeah, I would say I'm actually slightly disagree with Kiefer. Like, if I was turning channels and had no idea what this was, didn't see the Marvel logo or anything, and just saw it, I probably wouldn't know that it was a superhero movie. I definitely know it was a comic movie. I think there's
That's
an
fair.
important distinction there. I don't think it feels like a superhero film so much as it does feel like a comic book film.
That's
But
actually a very good distinction. Yeah.
yeah,
true.
I think DJ was on something there in the last act, though. There is something there that makes it a little more superhero-esque.
Flying around and punching.
That does it. Anytime, anywhere, that does it. Well, fantastic. That's awesome to hear the thoughts. And I always ask that question just because I feel like going forward, we're having this moment in everywhere where the genre is changing and it's evolving, but we're still figuring out how it's evolving. And that's exactly what I wanted to lead into next is with Guardians of the Galaxy 2 just coming out, with Doctor Strange recently, with the recent Ragnarok ad, Homecoming trailer, all that stuff. Marvel seems to be changing up their game, not totally, but they seem to be changing up their game somewhat. And I'm trying to figure out all the places it is changing their game. And I'm curious if it feels like something that's gonna work down the road. Um, so to start off, the first thing I'm noticing, which y'all are confirming here, is that Marvel is colorizing everything, which I don't mind. I love color. But between Strange and this new Guardians movie, color out the wazoo. So I'm curious if that color aesthetic is going to show itself even more down the road or not. But yeah, what are some of y'all's thoughts on that?
Yes, I think.
Hit me,
Well,
DJ.
yes, yeah, yes and no. I think that, and me and Chris actually talked about this last night. That I am personally feeling the superhero fatigue. Um, I am finding myself caring less as these movies keep coming out. The DC movies are an exception because we just haven't seen many of them. We've only seen 3 of them, so they're a little bit different. But the Marvel movies, they're so formulaic. And I'm not trying to bash Marvel or anything. It's just they've had it feels like about 20 movies at this point. And it's just, I mean, they've been making movies for over 10 years or about 10 years but yeah, I think I'm just kind of, you know, now they're just movies now. Like they're just kind of. I'm losing the excitement that I have in movies, and I know it's gonna happen for Star Wars soon, unless they announce a Obi-Wan movie.
That's true.
If they give me a Kenobi movie, I'm back on board. But
Starring
why
Ewan
is that?
McGregor.
Kenobi's my favorite character, and he's also. There needs to be a Kenobi movie in between Episode 3 and 4. We gotta know what's going on in the desert.
Starring
Man.
Ewan McGregor.
What if they mess it up?
What if they mess it up? They won't mess it up because Ewan McGregor's gonna be in it.
And he can't mess it up.
can't-
I'm completely on board
complicated.
with
He's
you there.
playing two men. He's playing two twin brothers in Fargo right now. He cannot do anything wrong.
He could go into hiding.
Ewan McGregor is perfect.
I mean, I'm not gonna disagree with that statement.
He's a lovely man.
He is. He is. Somebody else getting on this though. What are some things that Marvel seems to be doing different? Because I feel like there are like noticeable changes. I'm just trying to pinpoint them, and it's hard.
It's hard because they're not there.
Oh,
I actually kind of agree with that.
I'm gonna be honest. Like I'm feeling the fatigue too, but I do not attribute it to superhero fatigue. I feel it's Marvel fatigue, and it's nothing against Marvel. I just think it's I feel like every Marvel movie feels the same, and so
You know what you're getting into.
If I go into Homecoming or Thor Ragnarok or Guardians of the Galaxy this year, I'm gonna feel pretty much the same way every movie, and that might be contributing to the fatigue. If you get formulaic, you're gonna get fatigue. It's just gonna happen, and it's nothing against Marvel because I love those kinds of movies. I had the rosiest impression of Guardians of the Galaxy 2 of anyone here. I loved that film. I shouldn't have loved that film, but I did. But my point is, I don't think there is a difference in what Marvel's doing. I think they found their niche and they're going for it, and it's working, but it can't work forever.
Or it
Okay.
can.
or it can.
It seems to be.
That's fair, but at the same time, while they're doing well, we aren't getting the same crazy numbers as we used to get. I feel like maybe I'm just making that up in my head, but I feel like even though each movie's doing well, we're not getting record-breaking movies anymore outside of your massive team ups.
It's because we already got Avengers, so
Right.
we can't do much to beat that.
And exactly, that's what I'm saying. Is that like it can't work forever. There's going to be a time
not?
where it'll stop. Right, it'll die. I mean, people probably thought 80s action movies were gonna which I would not mind if they lasted forever. Like, let's be honest. But but they died, and so I feel like the same thing here is gonna happen.
To go back to Ryan's point, I don't believe that they're changing anything. If anything, they're just changing the logos of the films themselves. They're still laughable, enjoyable, action-filled movies. Well, except for Thor.
Right.
I still haven't seen Thor 2. Every time I try to watch it, I get so bored I just shut it off. But I'm gonna sit down and finally watch it one day, probably before Ragnarok. But
Makes me sad too.
I think when you go into a Marvel movie, you know what to expect. You're gonna get what happened in between now and then. You're gonna set up the villain. You're gonna attack the villain. You're gonna either beat the villain or the villain's gonna beat you momentarily, and then it's gonna end. You walk out. You're like, wow, can't wait to see the next movie because of the end credits.
So you're like, wow. I can't even do it, man. I can't
Wow.
even do it.
But also to
Wow.
DJ's
Thank you,
point,
DJ.
you said that you couldn't really top Avengers. I don't think that's necessarily true, only because of Infinity War. When you have all those on the screen, I'm so interested to see the dynamic in everything between all the characters and how it's actually going to work, especially the action sequences.
Honestly, all I care about is Starlord meeting Ant-Man.
Not
Maybe
Iron
meeting
Man?
Spider-Man. Like, literally. All I care about is like that kind of interaction, because that's what I'm interested in. I'll save that for. I'll let some other people come in first, but
What about
I've got some
Thor and
thoughts.
or not Thor, but Hulk and Groot?
I want to see Raccoon's Rocket's reaction to Hulk.
That'll be the one F-bomb they drop in the movie in the PG rating.
I would love, yeah, that would be great. Yeah, I wanted to hop in real quick, just to say that I think that Guardians of the Galaxy does give me hope for what is to come going forward, because it is a very non-traditional story, the way that they formed the plot, and also that this movie is probably the best looking, as far as just aesthetically, Marvel movie to date. I think Doctor Strange would be a close second, but I think this one, especially that opening scene with the tentacle monster with the
Oh.
little the rainbow fog he was roaring out or
Did
whatever.
not know we were getting into hentai. Oh.
Pretty much that's what I was thinking of, yeah. But yeah, yeah. So
think we broke
fan
it.
fiction be damned, but it's a very good looking movie, and I think it's the right movie to come out at this point going forward, because I think that Thor Ragnarok is going to have a very feel, and I also think that Infinity War going forward is going to benefit from Marvel knowing that, for one, shooting on film works and it looks gorgeous, and also as far as just the whole vibe and the interstellar travel, and oh, also there's a scene or a couple scenes in Guardians where they're doing like light speed or whatever, and they're going through different dimensions, and it is absolutely hilarious. But I think those who have seen it probably know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's anyways. But I think that the Marvel movies are going to benefit from this movie being pretty non-traditional going forward. So
Absolutely. And something I was realizing that when I was thinking about how is Marvel changing, I think we're saying the same things differently. Sometimes, like y'all are talking about how they're finding their it's a niche or niche. I don't know how to say that word.
tomato.
Yeah, right. And finding their niche, and it sounds better to say niche. I'm gonna say niche. Anyway, finding their niche, and exactly, Mitch, exactly. Uh, man, even that, um, and getting results out of it, where when you have Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I see a movie that knows it's funny and is fine with that. And I look at Thor Ragnarok ads. They're the ad. It's like they recognize they shouldn't try to like make Thor serious because he talks ridiculously and he's a very ridiculous guy, and why would we try and make this like a serious film?
Yeah,
And
but I think Thor 1 was pretty good.
yeah, it was okay.
Like it's kind of mediocre just as a movie, but I think it worked. Like,
and specifically Thor
well,
2.
the parts in Asgard, I mean, I think those were the best parts of the movie.
Yeah, it's fair. There were moments, but the
I'm-
problem is that we're not used to that in our like cultural thing. You can't have an entire movie set where everybody's just talking like that unless you're going to a Shakespeare play and it's supposed to be serious. Like, they recognize that it's kind of weird. But what I'm interested in is that kind of what you're talking about is, are we going to get a new kind of Marvel fatigue where before we retired of Marvel not caring if it was funny, or rather not caring, of Marvel not like appreciating that they were trying to be funny, of like having the jokes but still trying to be serious in an awkward way. And I'm curious now if we'll get a new fatigue of Marvel's just being comedy movies now. I'm curious to see how that'll be moving forward.
I'm interested to see how that happens too, because I kind of want to disagree with everyone a little bit here, talking
Rogue.
about Marvel.
Oh, surprise, surprise.
About Marvel doing stuff new, and it might turn out that I'm just taking a slightly different tack of saying what you guys are saying, but to me, I think Marvel is changing up the setting and the scale of their movies. Starting with a movie like Ant-Man, they go down to the granular level to give the appearance, at the very least, of making a different type of movie. They're changing, the environmental context, and they're just recycling the same elements. If you think about a movie like Black Panther, we already know what's going to be in the movie. It's like everyone has been saying before. There will be the comedy, there will be the joking, there will be the action scenes every 20 to 30 minutes. It's going to be that kind of movie. But here's the thing: changing scale and changing context is a change of sorts that makes a difference. The difference between a small or even a large high school in New York where Spider-Man goes to school and interacts with his friends is a lot different than the context of being a sovereign of a technologically advanced society. So even though the elements will be the same, just the changing of context will allow you to have a sense of newness.
Mm.
And I think that's actually a little bit different. Now, the actual movies themselves are not going to be much different in terms of content. Marvel has shown itself quite indifferent to the claims of people like us who want them to move beyond the simple action comedy format. So the content will remain mostly the same. There will be some degrees of difference between seriousness and lightheartedness and blood and gore and all of that. But the movies, all they'll do is change in setting and scale, but maybe that'll be enough to avoid fatigue. And maybe the new like Ant-Man
And the Wasp.
Spider-Man changing scale and setting will actually do something significant.
Yeah, honestly, the way I look at it, if Transformers has lasted this long, Marvel movies are gonna be fine. They're better, they're funnier, they're better, they're much better, and
I-
Where's
they're-
Mark Wahlberg?
and if we could also, did anybody else see the Mummy trailer before the movie?
Yeah.
Please tell me that Tom Cruise doesn't look like Nathan Drake in that movie.
That's why
Like-
the only reason I'm seeing that movie.
Like everything he does is Nathan Drake.
It's true.
He's wearing the same clothes, the same shirts, same jacket, same pants. He's wearing the little gun strap. He's doing it. But
Will
his
you
name's
please
Nick.
tell me every time
that
you
movie.
don't see the main chick, I always just go Enchantress.
Oh man.
Like
Oh,
every single time.
Oh man.
It's so true.
Oscar award-winning Suicide Squad.
I
That's
think
right.
of her as Peg Leg.
Grammy
from,
award-winning
Kingsman.
Suicide Squad.
Ugh,
Oh man, what were we even talking about here? Oh, I know.
Enchantress.
Enchantress, yes. But before that, we were. I had a great point, and I totally lost it because I was too caught up in Enchantress. Oh,
That's all
did
for
you-
tonight, folks.
That's right. We're just shutting it down here, guys. I lost my point. That's it. Was that you were going somewhere, DJ, too, though. So
Yeah, well, yeah, just like these movies, they know what their formula is, they know what they can do. They're gonna tweak it here and there going forward, but I mean, they're they are a very, very well machine, and they are a locomotive that's not stopping anytime soon.
and that completely reminds me of what I was gonna say, and that is, I think I'm just gonna throw it out here right now. Fast and the Furious is going to be the indicator of what Marvel does next. Think about that.
Elaborate on that.
Because Furious started off as like this low key, like low style, racing, all that, and then more and more over time, it's gotten grander, it's gotten bigger, and now with like Fate, they've jumped the shark totally. If they hadn't before, they definitely have now. and they're very self-aware of what they're doing. And I feel like Marvel's kind of going the same route. And I feel like Fast and the Furious
Going the
is
opposite route, maybe.
really. How do you think so?
Wait, what?
How do you think it's
You-
opposite route?
If you think about the Fast and Furious, they start from a place of relative groundedness and end up where they are now. Marvel's actually diversifying by starting off with the Iron Mans and the Captain Americas and having the Avengers and Age of Ultron, then going down to like an Ant-Man or a Spider-Man Homecoming. They want to jump in size and scope,
That's
not simply
interesting.
progress upwards. So that's the change that I was talking about earlier.
I
I
don't think
would.
that was by design.
I see what you're trying to say, but I feel like the difference here is in tone. Take Iron Man, the first one. That was a serious movie. Like it felt serious. Like I had humor in it, but like the threat, all that, like it was a very
Big stakes.
legitimate, serious movie. Captain America, yeah, it was funny and all, but it was our first look at Cap and his humor and all that. And it had like a very serious, it's a war plot, all that. And then, but the further you've gotten along in Marvel, you get to like Ant-Man, which I love, but it's Ant-Man. You've got the Hispanic sidekick. You've got the that was always joking around and stuff.
Michael Pena. The
Yeah,
great
yeah.
Michael Pena.
Always.
He's
And
But are we
like
talking
the
about
second one, though, right?
scope or tone?
I'm talking tone.
Okay, I was talking scope. That's what I was
Yeah,
trying
which
to
I
make.
think you made some good points there on scope. But
Good
in
points for
tone,
everyone.
yeah.
No. Disagree.
Everybody's making good points. There we go. But in tone, you got Ant-Man, you got Spider-Man, who, if he's done right, is going to be incredibly self-aware and quippy. You're getting,
Deadpool.
yeah, and that's not in universe, but
Maybe
you got
one
your
day.
Starlord, you've got your Thor Ragnarok looks a lot more lighthearted in a lot of ways
And
than
colorful.
like colorful again, and dark, which makes sense in Dark World. I mean, how are you going to get colorful in a movie called Dark World then?
Yeah.
But I think we're seeing a lot more of that. And I think the same thing's going to happen where whatever step, because the Fast and Furious franchises had such experience, what they do next to stay relevant is going to be a tell of what Marvel will have to do next to stay relevant.
Yeah. I just want more team up movies. I want more Thor Ragnaroks. I want an Ant-Man Iron Man movie. Let me
I
get
want
a
an Ant-Man Hulk movie. I'm just saying.
yeah,
like
yeah.
the Coke ad. Remember the Coke ad? Like
Oh yeah, that's
yeah,
true.
yeah. Like
That's
I
true.
need an entire movie of that. That was great.
I want if they're gonna do a Black Widow movie, they need to have Hawkeye in it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean that was definitely something that I was sad about. Which I understand why they did it in Ultron, but seriously, you're gonna tease us with this whole like, oh, we're totally best buds that are gonna like totally get together and stuff, and then not make us a couple. Like, I'm just saying.
See, I didn't see it that way. I they're like they've formed a kind of he's almost her mentor, kind of her big brother. That's the way I saw
Yeah.
it.
Good for you.
Good,
You're
yeah,
not most
good for me.
moviegoers.
I'm
You're
the
not
best.
most moviegoers.
I'm the best moviegoer.
Mhm. You tell yourself that.
That's why I get extra cheese on my popcorn.
You get cheese on your popcorn?
Not like shredded cheese, like like the little powder.
Little,
Not cocaine,
wait,
Butter?
what?
but
Powdered cheese? What is this?
the little. It's like a
Parmesan?
It's white cheddar, not
Oh, I
cocaine
know.
cheddar.
Oh, wait, no, dude, I love that stuff. You're right.
The
You're
little
right.
shakers, yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
I'm
I've never heard
sorry.
of it.
That's the jam.
You've never heard of it because you're not the best moviegoer.
Oh, that hurt.
You're Mitchell.
That hurts. I do think though this is a good time.
Wow.
I think.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm so glad this is a thing.
Oh my goodness. I think though that we've kind of covered this a lot. That Marvel's changing by staying the same, and that we'll see if it works. I wanted to go ahead and move on though. I think we've got in honor of it's a Free Comics Day happening.
Woo!
What? We're bringing my boy Michael back in here to talk about some comics. And so before you start, Michael, I'm gonna go ahead and throw out there. By the end of your segment, you also need to have a fan cast of Starlord. So I hope you're ready.
Ooh.
The main guy.
I'll have to think about that.
Mm.
I'll
Yeah,
bring
you go
it.
ahead. You're all good. You're all good.
Well, welcome, gentlemen. I'm glad to be here with you.
We're glad to hear your bassy voice, sir.
Do I really sound that low and that sexy?
Oh man, you are like when you pass that car on the street and you just hear the window rattle. Like it's that level. It's pretty great. Pretty great.
Oh, beautiful. Well, like Joseph said, Free Comic Book Day was yesterday. Did any of you gentlemen make it out to your local comic book shop?
I
I
did
did
not.
not.
Sadly, I was working.
I was
Oh.
very sad because I didn't realize until that night. And I saw everybody that had in their hand, like posting pictures of like, check out all these awesome comics I got, and I was like, ugh, yeah,
Boo.
It's so sad.
Well, it was a wonderful time at my local comic book shop, Duncanville Bookstore in Duncanville, Texas. They always got like 25% off just about everything in the store on Free Comic Book Day. So I picked up some trades that I've been waiting on. I was talking about Valiant last time I was with you guys. I picked up a Bloodshot Reborn trade paperback.
Mm.
Got me Batman and Robin for the New 52. Just catching up on some old stuff. As a broke comic book fan, you need to pick and choose carefully where you spend your cash and how you spend it. It's really tough. There's so many things out there that I want to buy, but I do want to stay married at the same time.
Priorities, right?
Priorities, exactly. Just to highlight a couple interesting comics from Free Comic Book Day. They had a Kaiser Soze comic from a company called Red 5. And that's pretty interesting, harkening back to movie Usual Suspects.
Yeah, you got me real excited with that one.
Yeah, it's like a prequel. It shows Kaiser like back in the 80s. It was just a short little comic, but it shows him back in the 80s doing business, like taking down some coke dealers in like 1980s New York. It's pretty interesting. I might try to see if I can follow up on that further down the road. It was enough to get my taste buds wet. There's also if anyone's familiar with Image Comics, and there's an artist named Scotty Young. Very interesting art style. I think he writes and draws a comic called I Hate Fairyland. And he it was like a special called I Hate Image, and it's like this little fairy girl character running through all the characters of Image Comics, and she's like slaughtering them with battle axes and stuff like that. Like it is so great.
Oh man, I need to pick that up.
Yeah. Check out. I believe it's called I Hate Fairyland. Like just the art alone, Scotty Young's art style is so unique and like cartoonish. You guys might really dig it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But the most important question has still not been answered though. Have you come up with a fan cast
Oh,
yet?
like I was thinking earlier. I was like, maybe Zac Efron could really do like a suave, sexy
like the
Starlord.
really thinks he's suave kind.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can see that.
Like
I don't want it, but I can see it.
I saw a trailer for that terrible looking Baywatch movie, and that kid is beyond ripped. I can't
That's true.
believe.
He is much more built than you would suspect.
It's pretty
I
amazing.
still can't stand him though. I'm not gonna lie. Like
I don't really like him, but man, he might be a good Starlord.
he is like the definition of a frat boy, and that drives me crazy.
Might be a good Dick Grayson.
No, don't say that, please. No, I don't want Nightwing to be a frat boy.
He is though.
No, don't
He
ruin
kinda
Nightwing
is.
for me.
Ooh.
Oh man. But do you have anything else for us?
Yeah, I thought about running through maybe some sales numbers for the month of April. Just give everyone
Love
kind
to
of
look
a
up.
kind of what Chris does with the box office. Kind of give a little state of the industry, see how things are shaping up. I'm a Marvel fan, but I don't really read Marvel comics at the moment. There's been a like big hubbub with the way Nick Spencer is writing Captain America, and there's a bunch of
You mean destroying?
yeah. I mean, fans are upset, and they're probably fans who probably haven't picked up a Cap comic since the '90s. He said something really interesting online, pretty much paraphrasing, like if characters don't change and evolve, they stagnate and die.
Yeah.
And I've heard people who are reading Secret Empire that it's been really good, and the writing's been really excellent. But some people are just pissed that he's making Cap, a Hydra agent and stuff like that.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, it looks like Marvel kind of is dominating the sales still. They dropped X-Men Gold #1 and X-Men Blue #1.
Wow, did they just go Pokemon on X-Men?
Yeah. They've also dropped Weapon X #1. All those are #1 issues, so they're kind of relaunching their X-Men comics. So Marvel holds 5 of the top 10 top sales from April. DC has about 4, but 2 of them are like special edition. The lenticular covers for Batman 21 is the Flash Batman crossover called The Button. That I've heard great things about. I haven't picked it up yet. I like to wait and read my comics in trade. But I've heard that it's amazing. So, like, share of the market value, Marvel's still dominating with like 35% of the market. DC is running about 28%, and Image with about 10%, and then kind of trickles down with all the smaller publishers. And I wanted to also highlight a comic from Image that needs some light on it and some love. It's called Nail Biter. I'm not a big horror comic fan, but the story is so interesting. It's from Josh Williamson. Josh Williamson, he's the writer on Flash right now.
Oh, interesting.
It's a little creator-owned project he's got through Image, and it's about a town in Oregon called Buckaroo, and a FBI agent is trying to figure out why 16 serial killers have been like born or come out of Buckaroo. So they're called the Buckaroo Butchers. Like, just imagine like if you grew up in a small town, and out of your small town, 16 of the most notorious serial killers ever like caught or captured or whatever had come through like your town somehow.
Huh.
So it's super interesting. It's got me hooked. There's about, I think, 5 trades out right now, maybe 6. Highly recommend. If you're into like a drama, mystery, kind of bloody horror, it's pretty awesome.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, thank you very much for coming in, sir. Some
No
very
problem.
interesting stuff I'll have to look out for. Hit up. I love stuff like this. Is crossovers. I've kind of rejected the Captain America series, but I might give it a shot if I ever get a chance to look at some comic books. Maybe. We'll see. Thanks for coming in, Mitch, and rock on. It's good to hear from you.
Wow.
Wow.
That was
Speaking of wow, without the O's, we are getting Mitch coming in hot here, saying we are literally getting a Wonder Woman trailer right now. So that's pretty hyped. We're gonna see what I did there. Wow, without the O's, the WW. That's
I watched 30 seconds of it. I'm so hyped.
Okay. So I have an idea. What if we all watched it right now and gave live reactions right afterwards?
Wow.
Looks pretty good.
That was pretty good.
Sorry, was that super dry?
I'm sorry. I was not expecting that.
I didn't mean to sound so so unimpressed. It it does look really good.
Is this gonna be a thing where I break down every podcast or something?
I hope Chris is
I just want to go on record saying how much we hate you. All
I'm
of you.
How are you
sorry.
not done with this?
Yeah.
Who, me?
Yeah, all of you, because look, we were trying to downgrade the quality so we could stream this faster, and y'all kept talking on the
Kept
Discord
talking.
chat,
Just kept
which
talking.
kept us from
I'm
doing that.
so sorry. We'll let you finish.
But now
But
that
this
we
has
finished
to say-
watching the lowest quality video trailer I've ever had
What
to
are you
watch.
watching? Like 240p?
Oh,
No, it
we
was
were like
144.
No,
Oh,
it's not even
Lowest
worth
is
watching.
144p.
you're just watching 8-bit.
Pretty much.
I'm actually gonna go back and watch it.
You know what? It was surprisingly enjoyable. I'm thinking I may watch 8-bit versions of other movies.
Wow, this looks absolutely terrible. I'm so sorry.
Oh man.
I have a question before we start this up.
Oh, okay. Well, don't let me say what I have to say then. Fine.
ahead, Loki.
You say okay. I, Joseph, will now say my statement. Wonder Woman climbing up a wall, slamming her hands to make the handholds was awesome. I don't know for y'all why that was my moment, but like
It reminded me of
Just
Prince
no-
of Persia.
like her pure strength to literally just I'm gonna make handholds here. Like
That's pretty
I
cool.
thought-
I like that.
that was awesome. That was my moment.
There were a lot for me.
Oh, yeah.
The battle scenes look really well done, and
Yeah.
I've been waiting for years to see someone give World War One its visual due. And if it takes a superhero movie, the first female superhero movie, to do that, then I am there for that day one. So I like everything with fighting and the war in it is a win for me.
It looks so
I'm just
good.
excited.
Haven't you seen Legends of the Fall, Kiefer? With the great Brad Pitt?
I have seen that.
Point stands.
Good. I think it looks pretty good. It looks, I mean, it looks very colorful. It looks,
Does
mean,
it look colorful though?
I think it does.
I
looks
think
like
the
a different
origin is
kind
going to
of
look
color.
colorful,
You're
but
just
World War
gonna
One
be
is not
disappointed when that 35% on Rotten Tomatoes hits.
Yeah, right.
Because it's gonna be so green and rotten.
I'm wondering how long
Wait,
it takes
green
before
is-
she goes into the war, though.
Can't we just
I'm
pause though?
thinking it may
Green is
be
not
Steel
rotten. Green
Trigger.
is underripe. You're messing with me.
That's true. He's
Sorry,
white, folks.
continue.
So is the lady the villain?
I think she's a villain.
Yeah,
It's the only villain we're seeing. So
Yeah,
let me
they
put it this
name
way:
dropped
we are
Dr.
going.
Poison,
It looks
that
like
was
we're
nice.
going to get more.
I think there's going to be like, I don't know, but there's obviously a couple scenes in there where it's not World War One.
But yes, that was a fantastic trailer. I am so ready.
Listen here, Morty.
Like,
Really great thoughts,
This
everybody.
is what
Like
happens.
I really think it's gonna be good.
Is good a good term to use here?
I would say it's the Great War.
it doesn't look bad.
Mm.
I mean, it still looks like it needs some touch-ups with the whole. She looks a little rubbery at certain points, but you know, that's all right.
I don't know.
Isn't what Gal said that they're working a little bit harder with some of the CGI stuff because she was pregnant at the time, and they just want to make sure that they had everything absolutely perfect.
I wouldn't be
Probably.
surprised. I mean, that's a hard thing to do.
When did they wrap up filming?
Like 3 years ago.
Yeah,
I think it was right before Justice League started. No, Psych. No, it was no, it was in like December, I think, or January.
I don't know. But all in all, that was exciting.
Ow.
You're so dead. You're so deadpan.
okay, getting us back on subject, I just wanted to say that I think we got pretty fair confirmation that German officer guy #1 is not Ares in disguise.
Oh, you're talking about the guy that she kicks out the window?
You're talking about
I'm pretty sure
Who
it's the,
She
are
basically
you?
kicks him, and then that's all he wrote.
What a sucky way to die.
I
Oh, he
mean,
didn't
there
die,
are
though.
worse ways though.
There are, like gas,
Like Dr.
And
Poison,
poison.
apparently.
like farts.
I mean, that also is true. Oh man, but that was a lot of fun. That was a fun way to end this. I'm just gonna say I think this is a good point to wrap up here. So before we go though, I want to let everybody know you can check us out in a lot of locations. First and foremost, you can go to our website, which is Article Asylum at WordPress.com. Or .wordpress.com, not at. I can't speak. Uh, you can also check us out on the social medias. You've got Facebook, Article Asylum. You've got we don't have Twitter. My brain is very tired
We
tonight.
do have Instagram.
We do have Instagram. Fantastic. You can
It's
check out
lit.
there. It is so lit, even though
It's
I
not lit.
didn't
We don't
learn
have
how
any
to-
followers. But it's whatever.
But Twitter though, we do have followers, and that is at Article Asylum. And we also have YouTube for your podcast needs, and potentially we're trying to get some stuff going on there. So see what we got going on here. We have the podcast will be up on iTunes as well. And anything else, guys? Nope, that's it. Well, thank you so much for listening. Y'all have a wonderful night.
Bye.